So, hi everyone, my name's Nick. We're actually in the middle of a massive swap of all of our agencies right now. So, about 2 weeks ago we were the Department of Finance Services and Innovation, and now we're the Department of Customer Service. Which is interesting actually, it's the first Department of Customer Service in the world, and so there's a lot of eyes on us right now to see how that will actually roll out and how it will actually improve the service that everyone in this room probably gets from the state government. So really interesting space to be right now. Thank you. Okay, so the SWOOP team asked me to come and talk about recognition. I think recognition is one of those just really nice topics, and I think it's something that forms such a key pillar of what we do. Show of hands, who likes expressing recognition or receiving recognition? Right, it's a positive thing, it's a nice thing. And actually, I don't know if others are the same, but whenever I meet with a leader and you get that question, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. I often say to them, you have it easier than anyone else. At the end of the day, as a leader, you can just get on there and you can say, great work, thank you. And from a leader, that's a really powerful thing. Even just a like can be a really powerful thing from a leader. The rest of us, we've got to think about what we want to say, how we're going to look, and that's a lot more serious. But so anyway, going into recognition, I should say that we're a very young network in our department. We only launched Yammer last November, and it was an interesting time to launch because we're all aware of the last 2 weeks of the year and really the first month of the following year being a dead zone. And so we thought, okay, we've got about 4 to 6 weeks left of this year to get people to just play with Yammer, get people comfortable with it. And once we get to the next year, we will, that's when we'll start building the purpose, the value, and what we're actually going to use this new tool for. But for now, it's just pressing buttons and having a plane feeling comfortable. And so we had our launch spike. I think everyone's talked about earlier on. You have this launch spike, and it starts to drop off, and you've got people knocking on your door in steer codes and such, saying, well, what's happened? Why has it dropped off? And why isn't it just going up, up, up? So we thought, okay, how can we deliver a campaign that's really going to work for a very new audience, for people who are just not comfortable in this sort of environment yet, very new to the department. And so we came up with something simple as we could, recognition, because everyone loves recognition. We thought, how convenient, let's turn this end of the year situation on its head a little bit and say, well, isn't it nice to close out a year just by saying thanks or showing some appreciation to maybe the person sitting next to you, maybe to your whole department, maybe to your whole team, maybe to someone for buying you more coffees than they bought you, or than you bought them. That sort of thing, it's just really easy, really simple. And so we put together the thanks campaign. Now, you can't really see this. This is just some of the collateral we used. Obviously, it was a very new network. It was about 3 weeks in. And so a lot of our focus for this campaign was outside of Yammer. It was digital screens, it was newsletters, which unfortunately we still use. It was intranet, it was face-to-face. It was drawing people to come to Yammer and publicly say thanks, tag someone and say thanks for something that they've done. So, we started our approach with leaders. And particularly as a new network, and talking about that permission that I think Alistair was talking about before, we started from the top down, and we went and we worked with our secretary, who is sort of the CEO equivalent to private organisations, and we asked him, was very, very keen and very happy to do so, just to kick off a thanks for a good year. Thanks for a good year, tag a few people, and share 1 or 2 examples of what you're really proud of us achieving this year. And he did that. And then we went to his exco and we worked with each of them to just start making that wave start flowing a little bit. Either sharing his post and then pushing it into their own town square or their virtual town squares in their Yammer groups, and saying, I don't know if you saw Martin's post, but I want to thank you for X, Y, and Z, and tagging a few people. And so we focused, particularly in the first couple of days, on really starting to just light that fire, push that wave a little bit, and then we were hoping that it would take off. And we were thinking, well, it's like pay it forward. We were hoping that if you get thanked, then you'll get an email. If you haven't come to Yammer before, you'll get a little email that says, come to Yammer, sign in, join the network, someone's thanked you, and you know what? it's not hard to pay it forward and say thank you to someone else. And thankfully, it worked. As you can see up here, here are some of my favorite messages. It took off as a wave. We had people thanking individuals, thanking teams, thanking project groups, thanking colleagues, thanking them for personal things, thanking them for work-related things, thanking them for both. It was really nice. We had videos shared. This is actually a really funny video where they've superimposed faces onto elves, in that time of year. We had lovely image. I think there was some volunteering up there that we had. This person, it's an amazing post. Someone actually probably all the different things that they were thankful for in a year, and actually putting little text in the photo. You actually open the photo. It's a really beautiful photo. But we all love pictures. The ones with pictures are my favorite, and it took off. But it really took off. It just kept flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing, and for weeks. And I thought, well, typically a campaign you have a really good week, and then the second week it's a bit slower, and it was on the Monday, but then the Tuesday and the Wednesday it just picked up again, and then it just kept flowing, and we just had messages coming from all directions. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, in the end. We reached just over 1,300 thanks messages, which, when we looked at the actual people count for this, was representing about a quarter of our workforce. Now, bearing in mind, we were about 3 or 4 weeks into having Yammer, and we managed to get a quarter of our workforce not just to come in and visit the platform, which we'd sort of done in our launch, but we actually got a quarter of them to publicly say something. And it was simple, it was nice, but it was, again, going back to building that comfort, it was building that comfort, getting them acquainted with the platform, and also just having a really nice way of closing out the year. Now, I should say at this point, how we used SWOOP in terms of gathering these stats, obviously at a very high level, we use SWOOP to track the progress each day. So at the end of the morning of each day, we looked at the previous day, and I was sort of like crossed my fingers and hoped that wave was still going, and hoped that we had got more engagement than the day before. But actually where we sort of more tactfully used it was looking at each of our business units to see where that was sort of strongly moving, where that was maybe starting to weaken a little bit. And where it was starting to weaken a little bit, we were able to go and tap the relevant people on the shoulder and say, well, secretary has said thank you, and now your deputy secretary for your area said thank you, but you're one of the leaders who hasn't said thank you to your team. Do you think you might want to do that? And so we were able to target that with the information that we had from SWOOP, and sort of if the Tuesday showed that one area, revenue or something had quieted down a little bit, well, we were able to go have a little chat, and then when we got the stats for the next day, oh good, that's picked up a little bit and the way it's going. So we really tried to prolong it as much as we could. And actually to this day, people are still using this really simple hashtag thanks in everyday life. When there's a nice thing to say thank you for, hashtag thanks for whatever you've done for me. Now, we're really proud about that campaign, and actually it was so good that our secretary was knocking on our door at the end of the year saying, I want to speak to you about how we're going to start off the next year. And so that was great. But we're going to go on holidays and now we're going to think about this campaign. But that was really great. But one of the things that I think we all appreciate is when you actually drive something that grows organically, and particularly when something starts organically. And this is sort of the evolution I want to show you of where it went. This is 100% organic. We had no part of this whatsoever. So this is where our involvement really ended. We managed thanks. Thanks was really successful. We all tapped ourselves on the back and said, great work, and moved on and went to the next campaign. And now these have started to sprout up across our networks. This is the appreciation station, which is a really fun sort of concept. And it started to pop up. I think it started in our women of department group. And it was sort of just in that group that kicked off, but then it spread, and now it's happening in that team's group or in that department's group. And basically what it is any team member, leadership, non-leadership, it's actually usually non-leadership, jumps on, and maybe it's been a really successful week and they want to say thank you for something. maybe it's been a hard week and they just want to share a bit of love and sort of console a little bit. And they jump on and they kick off an appreciation station, and they just thank a few people or thank an individual. And as you can see, these are actually responses to that single appreciation station where other people join in a really similar fashion to thanks. And these are usually themed now, so it really is about, at the end of the week, what's happened during the week or a particular project. But what we're loving so much about this is that we have no contact with this whatsoever. I mean, we've jumped in and said thank you a few times ourselves, of course, but we are at a point now where we can step back on the recognition a little bit, and we know that our people have got the idea, they want to show recognition, and now they know to use Yammer for this purpose. They come to Yammer for this purpose. So that's pretty much the story that I have for you. It went a little bit quicker than I was expecting. But does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to share maybe some recognition experiences that they have had? Yeah.
Yeah, so at NSW we've got a lot of recognition of that. But it can also get quite political and almost negative sometimes when they don't see the light.
Yeah.
People get most of that joy because they want to include it. So have you had to deal with that anyway?
I see, where this could go. Particularly, I don't think it's an issue where you're tagging one or two people and saying, thanks, Jane, for that specific thing. But I do see what you're saying when you've got a leader who might mention everyone in their exco except might drop a name or two. That could get a little bit awkward. We haven't had that, particularly around recognition. Or at least no one's expressed that to us. So I don't think so. But that being said, I mean, certainly there are times where people's names are dropped off, things that more business as usual, not so much recognition, that they question why. So I think it is something to consider. I suppose we try to keep it as sort of community driven and organic as possible, and hope that people aren't going to take it too seriously. I think the more serious you make something, the more of a big deal you make about something, maybe that's how people start to get their noses out of joint. Yeah?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment. Matt Dodd, who works at Bank West, who wasn't able to make it this year, but came last year, he actually shared a story about a hashtag they used, the topic that they used, which was Great Mate, and that went viral in a similar way for them. People were posting examples of great mates and how they, and that went viral even after their campaign ended. That hashtag was still used, like even 6 months after they ended the campaign. So it just, appreciation is a really great low-hanging fruit, I think, if you're not actually using any hashtags at all.
I guess it starts to become a cultural thing, doesn't it? Like even this campaign that you're talking about, it starts to become a culture of appreciation and thanking people.
It's almost, I mean, we sort of saw it as the extension of the like in some ways. It's very easy to click like. We obviously want to get people to do a little bit more than like. So that next step, 1 month into having a network is just say thanks to someone. We can all do it. We all like it.
Have you seen it bleed into the offline world? Like people in meetings going, oh, I saw you on there and you got thanked for that thing, that kind of.
I don't think I'm in enough team meetings across the department to say yes.
Yeah.
I know in our area we have, and people have certainly become aware of something that someone's done that they wouldn't have otherwise been, and so they've been able to say, oh, I saw you had that big win 6 months ago. I didn't even realize that you did that. I took that for granted. So there's a bit of that happening. On a more comical note, there's despite how simple we made it, that there was still a lot of people who got the hashtag wrong. And so now I have heard in a couple of meetings someone says, oh, by the way, I just wanted to let everyone know I just did a just thanks to, and they put hashtag just thanks. Thanks, so I sort of later on just when they edited the topic and added thanks as well. But yeah, I think where it's gone offline has been where people have been made aware, because this is public after all, that somebody did achieve something or somebody did do something, and they otherwise wouldn't have been aware of it.
On that note, it'd be really interesting if there's any examples or to keep an eye out for if people start then giving feedback on the thing that someone's getting praised for. So like if someone goes, praising Jason because he ran this awesome training thing, and then someone from a different department comes in and goes, oh my god, I'd love to get involved. And we have that in our area, and I think this kind of exercise can serve up that sort of value.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, we certainly saw examples where if I went on and I said, thank you to this person for whatever that was, other people would join and say, oh yeah, thank you, that was great. I didn't realise that was all you. So there was that sort of cumulative recognition, but the actual sort of that crossing of new connections would be really interesting to see.
We don't use hashtags very much, but we do have a group that is, it's called Service Excellence, which probably makes it a little bit too formal, and I think in some ways we could probably relax that whole sort of acknowledgement, but people do use it, and some of the things that are really nice to see was, one example was an event that was held on our Melbourne campus, and somebody very senior outside the university sent a note of thanks to the concierge staff, and that got shared across the university, and those guys never get recognition, ever. Most people barely even know their names, let alone have that sort of thing, and it was really fantastic. It generated a lot of conversation and a lot of acknowledgement of the work they do.
Which so often goes unseen, and one of the beauties of this as well was leaders got to see things that their people were doing, and leaders were able to sort of jump onto a conversation and say, oh yeah, really good. And that, the connection from an ED down to, like an employee that might be 4 levels lower, that doesn't usually happen. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, I'm commenting a lot, but another thing you could do is your company values. We've got hallmarks, and we turn those into topics where we see examples of behavior like smarter law or better together, all of our values. So if you're looking for values to kind of encourage people to or point out where people have used the company values, you might want to consider using hashtags.
And actually, one thing that springs to mind, previously we did the values of Telstra, and what you were able to use SWOOP for in that case was actually to see which values were really taking off and which ones employees were aligning with, and then which ones were just dead in the water. And then maybe reassessed, do the values not make sense? Do people not understand that particular value, or do they not agree with it, or is it not relevant to their daily work? Because obviously looking at the topics of everything is a hashtag, you can start to break that down. So yeah, totally agree on that.
Deloitte used to have a Praise Friday, so every Friday
that's good.
on Yammer they would praise somebody. Managers were encouraged to praise somebody in their team, and that was sort of a ritual that went on for a few years. I'm not sure if they still do it.
But that would be a really good thing for particularly Yammer to actually reinforce leaders to have that reason to be getting on there. I mean, I think many of us probably do struggle with getting leaders to just remember to get on here and to post and to respond particularly. And if they do it every Friday, they need to go in and say thank you. It boggles my mind sometimes when you talk to leaders and they struggle to even do that. And that's why we always lead with recognition, because at the end of the day, just get on and say great work. It's the first thing you can do.
I'm from Qantas, and we have, this is really interesting to me, because we actually have a custom-built online system called Thank You. And so if somebody's done something and helped you, you can get on and give them thank you points. And it's a whole loyalty, you can buy frequent flyer points, you can buy Apple phone, whatever. But nobody sees it other than the person who posts it. It goes to your boss, and your boss gets to approve it, because maybe, because I just bought in the system, I don't know. And then you get an email saying, hey, you've got some thank you. None of that sharing of there was this fabulous thing and you were on it and any of that sort of stuff. But this is much more out in the open.
And having that reward, I mean, who wouldn't want to get a phone or, obviously, building up your points and get sort of that physical, that tangible reward. But I think there's really something to be said for being publicly recognises something that you've worked really hard
and
on.
I think also what I've learned is, you know, you sort of get something and go, oh, that was nice of them. But what you don't know is who else is, or some teams are you thank youing all the time, and others, like, it's just not a thing that pops into their head. So it's kind of the luck of the draw when you're talking to. You don't get to see the activity, so therefore you don't do it yourself.
Yeah, and you know, further to that as well, you know, some of the examples that we did see part of this campaign was an ED might call out a particular team leader and say, you know, thanks for that project you delivered, great work, it really made a difference in our team. But then that team manager would then respond and say, oh, you know, thanks for recognising us, but actually it was this person, this person, this person, this person, this person did that. And again, connecting those dots of this level versus down to this level, they would never have known that. And these people now feel, oh, well, ED knows that I did that, you know, it's good. You know, this is the power that Yammer can offer to us. So.
And then moving that to a knowledge sharing platform, which I think is what Pete spoke to before, is those ideas like that you were mentioning, if you're doing things for something, surely other groups and teams can learn from what they're thankful for, because it's helping the company, so it becomes that knowledge sharing platform.